All right, what is up, everybody? Back at it with my once per month upload schedule. No, but in all seriousness, I've been crazy busy lately, so I'm just trying to get back in the groove of things. And I think with this new setup that I've been running right now, which we are going to cover in this video, I think that it's going to make this whole process setup of making videos a whole lot easier and a lot more motivating for me to come back here, sit down in front of the desk, and turn on the camera and record these videos for you guys. So what I wanted to do is share with you guys my current vocal chain setup that I've been running in the studio, because it's a little bit different than what you guys are used to seeing me run. Most of you guys know me for using the ART MPA2, and I swear by that thing. I absolutely love that preamp. I recommend it all the time. So this is probably going to come off as a little bit of a shocker, a little bit of a surprise when you guys see what I'm currently running right now. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it. We're going to break down the current vocal chain that I've been using and how it's been making my life a whole lot easier and a lot more motivating to come in here and make these videos. So yes, as you guys already know, the ART MPA2 is probably my favorite preamp ever made, period. That and the Avalon 737, but of course not everybody can have an Avalon 737, so getting a ART MPA2 is a whole lot more easier of a task, a lot more reasonable to acquire. And I swear by that thing. As you guys already know, I absolutely love this unit. So why am I using a different setup? Why am I not running the ART MPA2 like I normally would? Now, it's not very hard to understand why I'm not using the MPA2, and really it doesn't take a whole lot of explaining to see why I wouldn't be using this thing as often. Now, one of my biggest complaints with the MPA2, and it's not just the MPA2, this is with any preamp that you're going to use, it takes time to warm up. So if you turn it on, you're not going to be able to start recording right away. You need to let that thing warm up for anywhere between 15 to 30 minutes, maybe even longer. So for me, that process, that time of letting it warm up is where I could be starting my video and working on it, or just recording my track for whatever song I'm working on, or recording somebody else. So that is my biggest complaint, and that is not just the MPA2, that's with any preamp that you're going to use. You have to let those things warm up. Let them sit for 15, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, I don't know. Whatever you like, whatever you think sounds the best, however long you like to let your preamp warm up for, you have to let that happen. And in that process, I could have probably been done recording the video that you're currently watching right now. So what I've been doing instead is running the SM7B into my audio interface. Pretty simple. Now that's not all. I'm not just recording with the SM7B and the preamp on the ID22. I'm also taking advantage of the sends and returns on the back of this audio interface. One of the biggest reasons why you should buy this audio interface is because of that feature. So what's happening right now is I'm using the preamps on the ID22, but the audio is being routed out from the send into my KT2A compressor, and then that is then coming back into my return. So what you're hearing right now is the preamp of the ID22. That audio is going into the compressor, where I'm compressing by about 3 to 4 decibels max, and then that audio is coming back into the return on the interface and then being recorded into my DAW. So you are listening to my audio running through a physical compressor in real time. That's why I think, in my opinion, it just sounds so clean. I'm using the tubes on the KT2A to get a little bit of saturation, a little bit of control with the vocal, because I'm compressing it prior to recording it, and it just sounds so professional. There's just a sound that you get out of the KT2A that is just very professional and almost sounds like it's done almost. At that point, I really think all it needs is just a little bit of EQ and de-essing, and you're good to go. Your audio is going to sound super professional. In my opinion, this sounds very clean for how fast it takes to set up. Using something like this, all I have to do is come in here, turn the power on the KT2A. Again, you have to let it warm up a little bit for about 15-20 minutes, but then after that's all done, you can sit down and record. Now, another big problem with the MPA2 and when I would use it is I would then have to route that into the VLA2, which means that I'd have to go into the back of this setup right here that I'm sitting in front of and run a bunch of cables into different pieces of equipment. Now, for something like this setup, the ID22 going into the KT2A, all I have to do is turn on the KT2A, and I know that my levels are set perfectly on the ID22, so my levels should be set up perfectly in the KT2A. It's going to make sitting down to record these videos a lot lot faster. I don't have to go into the back of my setup and start routing a bunch of cables around to figure out which compressor I want to use. So if I want to use my preamp, okay, do I go into the KT2A? Do I go into the 266XS? Do I go into the VLA2? Do I want to run the VLA2 into the 266XS and then that back? There's so much configuration when you're sitting here and trying to figure out what setup in your vocal chain you want to run with physical hardware. So for me, I know that if I sit down in front of this setup with the KT2A and the ID22 and the SM7B, whatever I'm going to record into my DAW is going to sound very, very clean and professional. I think most of us can agree that this sounds very clean and professional sounding. I don't think that there's anybody that would complain about the way that this audio sounds. For me, my biggest complaint and my biggest worry about this vocal chain was the EIN on the preamps. But after doing a bunch of tests with it and running it at its maxed out gain, right now I have it at 60, the highest it can possibly go, I'm not hearing any noise at all, and I'm getting a loud enough recording to where I would normally record on the MPA2. So I'm very, very satisfied with the way that this sounds right now, and it's a super quick setup. All I gotta do is flip on one switch, my interface turns on when I turn on my entire setup over here, and have my SM7B connected into the ID22, and I am ready to go. I don't have to do any configuration with cables in the back, figure out which compressor I want to run, how do I want to set up my MPA2, do I want more tube saturation? I pretty much am just set right here within a couple minutes and I can start recording. Now, don't get me wrong, the MPA2 is absolutely amazing and this thing is here to stay in my studio, but if I had more time to spend and I really wanted to tailor the vocal chain to the artist that I'm recording, or even just for myself, of course, I would take more time to set up the vocal chain and configure everything so that it is best tailored to the artist or for myself. However, if I just wanted to get something out quick and I really didn't care about getting the most perfect sound, then this would probably be the setup that I would run, because for me, this is a whole lot faster to set up than running the MPA2 into the VLA or trying to figure out what compressor is going to sound best with the MPA for the track that I'm working on. For me, this is just the most efficient, fastest way possible for me to be able to get a track or a video done in the shortest amount of time. And again, if I really wanted to perfect the sound and tailor it for the artist, then of course I would spend a whole lot more time messing around with my other pieces of gear that I would have to then configure, wire up so that I'm recording into my DAW. So yeah, for me, this is just a very simple, very easy setup that just gives me a very professional out the box sound. So yeah, I've been enjoying the sound that I've been getting with this setup, but I do want to know from you guys what you guys think of the quality right now. I want to know what you guys think about it. If you think that there's anything I could add to the setup to make it sound a little bit more clean, or if you think it just sounds good on its own. So I do want to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think of the current audio setup. Anyways, guys, that is going to wrap it up. If you haven't already yet, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon beside it so that you could stay notified for whenever I drop any of my upcoming videos. With that being said, I'll see you all in my next one. Take care, everybody. Peace out.